Tonight, the Greenbelt backtrack captivating attention at a public meeting north of the city.
Why are we here? Why are we spending taxpayers' money when we have developers going straight to the province?
We'll take you to Caledon, where a parcel of land up for development under provincial order now excludes protected Greenbelt land.
It's actually pretty outrageous because it just makes life more difficult.
Plus, transit trouble with the Scarborough RT now officially out of service. We'll show you what the city is doing to try to get things on track.
If before you get out of your vehicle, if you do sense that something's odd or not right, trust your instincts.
And calculated contact. Police warning tonight about a new carjacking scenario you need to know to protect your car and yourself. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. We'll get to those stories in a moment, but first we'll take you to the scene near St. Clair and Dufferin, where a man has died and a woman is seriously injured after a shooting. This all happened inside a restaurant just after 7:30 tonight. Police were called to the scene for multiple reports of gunshots. Both of the victims were rushed to the hospital where the man was pronounced dead. The woman is expected to survive. Now, police say a firearm was located at the scene and the suspect fled on foot. There's no suspect description at this time. There was action north of the city tonight in Caledon, where things got heated at a public meeting over a provincial order to rezone a huge parcel of agricultural land for housing, including 41 acres of the Greenbelt. But tonight, a major shift. The province telling CBC Toronto the Greenbelt part of the proposal will be left protected. The abrupt change comes as the Ford government continues to face sharp criticism about its plans to build on parts of the Greenbelt across the GTHA. Farah Morelli has more on the latest development drama.
I'm not going to get into the debate.
The question is this a complete waste of time if we have no authority? Why are we here? Why are we spending taxpayers' money when we have developers going straight to the province?
Inside the Caledon Town Council chambers, tempers flared as the public weighed in on a controversial housing development.
I see no purpose to this meeting, I'm sorry, at all.
At issue, this parcel of mostly farmland. In 2020, the province issued a ministerial zoning order allowing developers to build on the land adjacent to it. MZOs let the province bypass local planning rules to expedite projects it wants to build. The new proposed amendment wanted to expand that order by 141 hectares. 41 of those hectares, Greenbelt land. But then an abrupt backtrack. Tonight in a statement to CBC, the Ministry of Housing said, through the consultation process, it was brought to our attention that the amendment, as submitted by the proponent, contained a section of lands located within the Greenbelt. It added, while feedback is still under review, any consideration of this amendment would not include protected lands located within the Greenbelt. It's just the latest controversy in the Greenbelt saga.
This is a flawed process. This was a biased process.
2 weeks ago, the province's Auditor General issued a scathing report that found the government's process for choosing sites for removal from the Greenbelt favored a small group of developers who now stand to make billions of dollars. It prompted the resignation of the housing minister's chief of staff and now a potential probe by the RCMP.
Things have changed so dramatically from this morning with the elimination of the Greenbelt from this proposed amendment.
One by one, residents stood up to oppose the amendment. Though the proposal no longer includes developing Greenbelt land, some advocates question the province's use of MZOs in places like Caledon.
You are opposed to this ministerial zoning order. It is not good for the people of Caledon. It's not good for us as taxpayers.
My gut, seeing how everything's working lately in the last 4 to 5 years, is that this MZO is probably done, and this is a formality.
But this is the kind of location where development should never go. And the government has been consistently using this emergency tool just to hand favors to select developers to build in places that development doesn't belong in at all.
The purpose of this meeting was not to make a recommendation or decision on this proposal, but rather to listen to comments. Staff will now prepare a report and submit it to council. But ultimately, the final decision here still rests with the Ministry of Housing. Farah Morelli, CBC News, Caledon.
Meanwhile, down at Queen's Park earlier today, the opposition continued to call for accountability with the government's Greenbelt land swap deal in general.
The Ontario Greens today are calling for a full, independent public inquiry into the Premier's Greenbelt giveaway.
In addition to an inquiry, Green leader Mike Schreiner also called for the housing minister to resign. Just a couple days ago, Minister Steve Clark's chief of staff left his office. The Auditor General's report accused the housing ministry of allowing developer influence and bias as it sought to develop some parcels of the protected Greenbelt. Breaking news out of Windsor as we look live at a potentially dangerous weather scene. Environment Canada just issuing a tornado warning less than an hour ago. Even though it looks calm in this live picture, you see the lightning there, and damaging winds of up to 110 kilometers an hour are expected, along with large hail and potentially intense rainfall. The Federal Weather Agency warning people in the region to exercise extreme caution. Nick Cernkovich is with us tonight. And Nick, this rain we're seeing across the region tonight is certainly piling on top of what we already got.
Well, Chris, the big story last night was the rain in southwestern Ontario. Some areas like Pelee Island seeing over 170 millimeters of rainfall. Even Windsor, about 88 millimeters of rain. And there is more happening tonight. Now, this will clear out by tomorrow, but everybody across southern and southwestern Ontario seeing rain showers through tonight. By tomorrow morning, a few isolated showers, generally starting to dry out, though. Again, the slight chance we'll see some isolated showers through tomorrow afternoon, but for the most part, it looks to be dry and cloudy, clearing as we head into the evening. Temperatures today, 22 degrees in Toronto, 29, though, in Sarnia. And this is this very warm push of air here that's in the central United States. Some areas seeing temps in the 40s. For us, not quite, but still warming up as we head into tomorrow. 19 degrees through the overnight period tonight. And again, those showers and thunderstorms. Tomorrow, we're looking at the risk of a few showers, high of 26 degrees. Humidex, though, of 34. We'll have more on your long-range forecast coming up in just a bit.
Yikes, that is a lot of humidity. All right, thanks, Nick. To Scarborough now, and last night we showed you how transit advocates staged that mock funeral for the RT line that's been out of service since a derailment last month. Well, it appears they were 1 day premature on that funeral service. Today, the TTC officially declared the line dead. Ali Chiasson went to Kennedy Station today to hear commuters' concerns.
Let's say if I need to go during peak traffic conditions to downtown Toronto, I need to add an extra 20 minutes minimum to my commute time.
It's really annoying because it's such an inconvenience to all of us. I go everywhere. It's the way to connect to the rest of the subway lines.
It's actually pretty outrageous because it just makes life more difficult.
At its peak, the Scarborough RT moved 30,000 people per day. That is until it derailed in July, sending 5 people to hospital with minor injuries. It was about a decade past its prime, so its replacement was long overdue.
Scarborough residents deserve so much better.
The current state of the SRT is being blamed on previous governments, low taxes, and paying more attention to other transit projects. But whoever is to blame, we're here. So now what?
What I'm doing is to say to TTC, every moment you waste is not acceptable.
Work is underway to create dedicated express bus lanes to service the 6-stop transit line, all while the Scarborough subway extension is built. Estimated completion in 7 years.
At least 7 years. Emphasis on at least.
Transit advocacy group TTC Riders wants the province to pitch in the meantime.
We want to see the Scarborough RT rail corridor turned into a busway. We've seen it before in Toronto, while the York University subway was being built. Other levels of government chipped in for that, and we need to see that happen here in Scarborough.
Without a coordinated effort to improve transit in the city, Scarborough Councillor Jamal Myers wonders if enough is being done to maintain other transit lines while the city is in such dire financial straits.
It's very concerning, and it's not just the city that has to address the financial future. As we saw there, it's the province and the federal government have to step up to the plate.
And help Scarborough Transit get on the right track.
This is a way to really turn the page on the Scarborough RT.
There has to be a seamless transition of transportation from Scarborough to downtown Toronto. We don't even have rentable bicycles here.
Additional buses will come online servicing Line 3 as of this Saturday. For more information on the routes and the times, check out the TTC's website. Ali Chiasson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now to some positive news tonight for residents of a West End apartment building who have been without power since a weekend fire. Building management saying today temporary power has been restored to all units at 357 Rusholme Road. The building near Bloor and Dufferin was the scene of an electrical fire over the weekend. Building management says the power is being provided through external generators and that residents may experience some service interruptions in the coming days. Residents are also told to expect Walmart gift cards worth $250 per unit starting early next week for all this inconvenience. City Hall was bustling today. You saw it in Ali's piece, but also because of the mayor's executive committee and with Mayor Olivia Chow's allies applauding her plan to dig the city out of its deep financial hole. Her critics called her proposal of a variety of new taxes and fees unaffordable. City Hall reporter Sean Jeffords has all the details of the political push and pull.
Toronto's troubled finances took center stage at new Mayor Olivia Chow's first executive committee meeting today. With over $46 billion in budget pressures over the next decade, city staff say Toronto needs new revenues. And Chow says it's time to get serious about a lot of ideas that have been debated for years, including new taxes.
I think what is in front of the executive committee today is a pulling together of all those options and say, we have to do something.
Toronto could fill that budget hole with a variety of taxes and fees. Chief amongst staff recommendations are increasing the municipal land transfer tax, the vacant home tax, and creating a parking levy. Chow stressed that many of those taxes would not impact the people who can least afford to pay.
Some of the options that's in front of us that are proposed by the city staff are targeting people that have a lot more money, whether there's land speculators or people that have fairly fancy mansions.
The big ticket item could be creating a municipal sales tax. That would raise $800 million a year, but require provincial permission. Councillor Gord Perks says Premier Doug Ford lives in the city too and should see the need.
He should know that people can't get on transit. He should know that sometimes when you dial an emergency service, the response time is longer. He should know that our streets are not being maintained as well. So if he believes in a city that the people of Toronto deserve, where services work, he'll grow up and come to a new position.
But Councillor Stephen Holiday isn't convinced. He'd like the city to cut some services before turning to taxpayers.
My overall criticism of the report is that it's heavy on ideas on how to squeeze more money out of taxpayers, but really light on ideas on how we can look at the costs that the City of Toronto government is spending.
But TTC Chair Jamal Meyer says if the city used those funds to invest in transit, people would be content paying a bit more.
I think what people want is if they're going to pay increased taxes, they need to feel the difference. They need to see the difference. People are okay to invest in their city if they actually see the difference in their neighborhoods.
With Chow's executive now approving the report, City Council will make the ultimate decision. All 25 councillors will have their opportunity to debate the plan on September 6th. Sean Jeffords, CBC News, Toronto.
A point of clarification to make tonight about a story we brought you last night on changes to cell service underground on the TTC. We told you that Rogers announced upgrades they say will provide more reliable access to 911 service for its customers while riding the subway. The upgrades the company is making to the cellular network will actually provide all TTC riders with more reliable access to 911 service, regardless of their wireless carrier. Outside of improved 911 access, Rogers customers can now use their wireless service at all stations between DuPont and Bloor-Yonge on Line 1, as well as from Keele to Castle Frank on Line 2. In transit tunnels in the downtown core, service has also been extended. The company is expected to expand service throughout the subway system in the next 2 years. Welcome back. There was a protest today outside Premier Doug Ford's Etobicoke office. Refugees and asylum seekers who have been housed in churches for weeks now were calling on all levels of government to find long-term housing solutions. Lorenda Redicop has more.
They march from their temporary shelter at a strip mall, 157 asylum seekers. They end their rally in front of Premier Doug Ford's office.
We need help! We need help!
For weeks, they've been put up by a church that scrambled to find spots, including the basement, an old bank, cramming mattresses together wherever they can find space. Many recent arrivals from Africa have said they're claiming asylum due to their sexual orientation. Others don't give details on why they fled. One woman from Kenya says her life was in danger.
And I believe Canada is the best place where I can be protected.
People from the church helping them know this isn't a permanent solution.
We need help!
It's not possible for me to have an 8-month-old pregnant lady sleeping on the ground. She's having pains. Winter is coming. If these people are not climatized and educated and get into homes right now, I believe that we will lose some of their lives.
Especially with the church in the premier's riding, she hopes he'll step in.
And Mr. Ford, I'm Ford Nation. Please. Speak for me.
The Premier's spokesperson points to a recent housing benefit announced by the city and the province, $13 million to get permanent homes for more than 1,300 people. She also urges the federal government to do more, noting historically it funds 2/3 of that program. The federal government did commit to $97 million for asylum seekers last month. At this church, organizers say whichever government can support them, they need it.
We're at a 911 situation. We have lots of bills to pay. We haven't paid our staff.
Trying to help, but after 4 weeks here, struggling to keep doing it. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Striking Metro grocery store workers in the GTA escalated their job action today, taking to the company's warehouses and blocking trucks coming in and out. 3,700 uniformed Metro grocery workers at 27 stores in the GTA are now in week 4 of strike action. Up until now, they've mostly been picketing outside stores. The union recently rejected Metro's offer to come back to the table. Workers are demanding more pay and better work conditions, saying many employees don't even make enough money to shop at their own store. To Markham now, and an important warning from police after 3 separate carjackings all within the last week. As Greg Ross explains, officers believe they were all likely carried out by the same person.
This surveillance video from August 17th shows the moment carjackers intentionally bump the back of a Mercedes. When the driver gets out to check the damage, he is confronted by 2 masked men.
The suspects do approach him with something, and that something was a knife.
Constable Lisa Moskalok with York Regional Police says the masked men demand the victim's keys and cell phone before driving off in his car. This happened near Renus Avenue and Beaver Brae Drive in Markham. The same scenario has now played out at least 2 more times.
We have had 3 occurrences involving what investigators are now linking with the same suspects that have occurred in Markham. It does appear to be the same vehicle, a black BMW SUV.
Police say on Sunday the carjackers bumped a Mercedes at the intersection of Steeles Avenue East and Victoria Park. The 2 vehicles ended up in this bus loop where one of the carjackers pulled a knife on the driver of the Mercedes. But instead of handing over his keys, the driver ran away and called police.
I guess something must have spooked the suspects and they quickly left without the victim's car.
The victim in this situation was lucky, but police don't recommend running or trying to fight back against these thieves.
Before you get out of your vehicle, if you do sense that something's odd or not right, trust your instincts. Call police immediately. We'll attend. We'll attend for the accident. We'll attend for anything. If you do get out of your vehicle and you are confronted with these people, it's just a vehicle. It's only property. Your property can be replaced. Your life cannot.
Police say in 2 of the carjackings, one of the suspects pulled a knife. In the other, he used a baton. They say that suspect is described as a white man, 5'8" to 5'10" in height. And in all 3 carjackings, he and his accomplices were wearing dark clothes and ski masks. Greg Ross, CBC News, Markham.
All right, let's get Nick back into the conversation here with a look at the long-range forecast. And Nick, where do we go from here?
So, Chris, we talked about the rainfall last night, and again, we've got rainfall tonight as well, and that shows up in our weather headline. More rain, although the rainfall warnings that we had earlier on were dropped, but we've got still rain, especially in southwestern Ontario. Temperatures, though, on the rise, and so is the humidity as well, at least for the next couple of days. So that's what we're looking at across the region. Let's get back to the rainfall forecast, though. Now, as we move through tonight, most of this stuff passing through by the overnight period. However, as through the evening, we've seen some showers and thunderstorms across the region. Heading into tomorrow morning, generally going to be dry. This model here not picking up on those showers, but some of them are. So the risk of some isolated showers as well. Looks like we'll see some clearing in the afternoon. However, again, the chance of some isolated showers. So I think we're generally on the sort of more cloudy side tomorrow, and the slight chance of some showers through the afternoon. Now, into Saturday morning, again, same story. I keep saying the showers, it's sort of on and off. They do clear out, though, by Saturday afternoon. Then we get back into the sunshine again. And by Sunday, we've got a nice sunny day in the forecast. How much are we looking at, though, with tonight's total? Well, I mean, some areas here are expecting to see upwards to about 50 millimeters of rain, and it really depends on where you are. So I don't want you to take these numbers at face value, because thunderstorms are so isolated that we're really talking about general amounts here, but anywhere from about 15 upwards to about 40 plus millimeters of rain with this system. Tonight, temperatures in the low 20s in some places like Windsor and Toronto, 19 degrees. And tomorrow, we're looking at highs of 26 degrees, feeling, though, like 34. So that's that humidity that's starting to push in. Generally cloudy skies. The slight chance we'll see a few isolated showers. Saturday, though, rain showers come in, and then they move out by the evening, 25 degrees. Humidex of about 33. Cools off a little bit into Sunday, but looks pretty nice there with sunshine and 22 degrees. And a little bit of mixed weather as we head into the beginning of next week. Chris.
All right, Nick, thanks a lot. Finally, tonight, the costumes and cosplayers are back in Toronto as Fan Expo takes over the convention center. The 4-day event has grown from a small comic book show into one of the largest of its kind in North America. Fan Expo says it welcomes hundreds of thousands of Canadian pop culture fans every year, and organizers say celebrities will continue to take part this year despite the ongoing actors' strike. Looks like a lot of fun. All right, that is our show for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have your next local news update tomorrow at 6 o'clock, and we'll leave you now with some more of the sights from day one of Fan Expo. Have a great